trying to be aggressive on them early, that's where we might see Ghost have a little bit of a weakness point.
Absolutely. So for the rest of them, Optic, as far as, you know, they won the last game. I think that's something I feel almost a little bit guilty of for glazing over. Optic played very, very well. They now have their first win of the tournament in hand. They can maybe not relax a little bit, but settle into their rhythm and try and get things going. And for the bottom half of the leaderboard, we say this every tournament, well, it's still early, but it's only early until it's not.
Well, I mean, we're already starting to see the points start stacking and stacking and stacking at the top of it. You can't let that happen. You can't let somebody run away on the first day or on the second day and then go, well, day 3 is going to be our day, because that's just too much pressure at that point.
Right.
You're just, every single shot you feel is just too much for you to overcome, and nerves become so big at that point. But enough about what we were talking about with all of the what's happening, what could happen. We've got everybody now out of the airplane, floating down. This is a pretty nice plane path, all things considered, going over Georgia Pool, ending up around Nova. So it's a Novo, I guess I should say. Usually that tends to be Nova's spot, but you can see that it's actually going to be Honeybadgernation's kind of kicking Nova out of their home.
Absolutely. So we did see another fairly standard plane path. We see Gankstars forming up here. Gankstars having, again, a bit of a tough game last round. And we see a relatively easy dispersion. And now this is more of a normal circle, I guess you could say, that we would see on Erangel, centered around that Gatka region. Tempo Storm got the drop they wanted. Wildcard got the vehicles they wanted, transitioning down below. Now we'll see Wildcard having to make their way all the way down to the Primorsk region. Are they going to be able to transition out of that, considering how often they've had to retraverse and kind of come back? Spacestation Gaming kind of hanging around in this Ferry Pier area. And for them, it's been a bit of a quiet day.
Well, this is what I like to call a friendly circle, like specifically whenever the plane goes right over where the circle drops at. A whole bunch of people dropped around Georgia Pool because that's where the plane path started at. Nobody's going to have to feel like they're rushing, because that's always that's the hard part about this. Whenever you feel like the circle's out to get you and the plane's out to get you, you just don't have time to get your loot. Everybody should feel pretty comfortable inside of the circle. Nobody really has to go really far out of their way. Even the military-based guys have a little bit of control over there. Our NRG guys that are hanging out in Pachinki, that's kind of like their city. I know everybody talks about, like, Pachinki is my city. I think that Pachinki tends to be NRG city.
Well, I mean, if it's open, it's open. And really, it seems that in all the lobbies that we've covered, EU, NA, that whoever gets Pachinki just gets it. No one ever contests it. And really, it's hard to fight for Pachinki, considering all the different buildings. And for NRG specifically, that's a very good boost, considering how often Pachinki is in that first zone.
There's so many different places that you can just come out in Pachinki. You know, you've got like those, all the easy access to get on top of the roof points. So you can just like kind of Batman around, jumping from building to building, and then just kind of spraying anybody that you see. So it tends to be very dangerous, specifically if you're pushing into the center of Pachinki. So that's why, really, whoever is the bravest one to go for Pachinki tends to get Pachinki.
So looking at the rest of the map, Dignitas now opting to actually give up on Severity, moving towards that North Georgia area. I think they wanted to drop just a little bit earlier than they have been. Gustav making his way over that way, but I believe for Dignitas, this is an interesting early adjustment for them. Maybe getting a little bit tired of that long trek. It hasn't really been favoring them so far.
Well, we actually haven't necessarily seen anybody really going North George too much.
No,
we've seen a lot of people kind of pushing around that Southern George area. See on the map, there's a couple of squads posted up. There's some in Crates. There's some in South George. A couple of people kind of playing around the hospital area. But nobody's really like going for North George. That's a lot of loot up there. If nobody's going there, sure, I'll take it.
Absolutely. And speaking of Georgia Pole, we joined Slime Squad here in South George, around that residential area, looking across the bay. We do have Dignitas there. They are sharing this region with Orbit. Orbit, a team that has not been playing with very much strategy. ADR Wales had a great time all the way through qualifiers. They're now under the Orbit moniker, but it just hasn't been happening for them today, and really all the team fights have just been going completely south for them.
There's a certain amount to be said for experience inside of playing inside of events. You know how different teams play. You know where they drop.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to come in and study everything because you're just familiar with it. I think that Orbit's kind of facing one of those specific points. It's also a lot easier to play through the qualifiers whenever you're kind of like leading inside of it. You don't have necessarily the same stuff that happens whenever you get to the top of the leaderboard.
True,
you get the top 20 teams, and you're used to being in the gunning squad. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to outgun some of these other squads.
Indeed.
So you make some decisions that used to work for you that definitely are going to blow up in your face.
and really the environment in which they're playing. They're in an arena, a cavernous arena, facing down their opponents, and not to mention the atmosphere is definitely different than home. Basements, offices, wherever you play.
Got to have the jersey on. Got to be dressed nice for the cameras. Can't just be kind of sitting around, hanging out in pajama pants, fragging out your heart. So, and then, you know, the little bit extra stressors coming inside of this. So I think we're starting to see everybody starting to make their way into the safe areas that are not yet claimed. Looks like Nova's probably about to start making their move. All these guys in Yasnaya really just have to move about 500 meters over. There's a couple of different points that they can play around here. But Yasnaya, it's just so big, and that's why we see usually teams drop east-west. We were talking about that beforehand. Totality can kind of get all the loot that they want on one side. Gankstars can get all of it on the other. So
we are seeing the first engagement of this match. It is Cloud9 and Flyquest.
Smack dab in the middle circle.
Yeah, right in the middle of the circle, getting engaged here with each other. I think Flyquest on rotation, Frolicker and the rest of his squad still a little bit spread stab. Still coming in a vehicle, but Spacestation Gaming also arriving on scene. We'll see what's happening with Cloud9. That is 2 down now. Paradox is finished, and Sharky does go down. Frolicker pushing.
Remember, Flyquest was in a great spot on the leaderboard a second ago. Losing these members this early, specifically to Cloud9, when the analyst desk was talking about they were expecting more out of Cloud9. Now they're coming in. They're feeling a lot more like Cloud9, specifically this style of play where they're not necessarily as afraid. They're going to come up, get that last kill, get themselves those 30 points based off it, and also kind of take down one of the present leaderboard holders. You know, pull them back. Oh, got to get that little extra loot there. Now we've got Stab. Remember, this is a team that just kind of reformed. Like they picked up a couple of new people. I think Stab's been playing with them for like what, 2-3 weeks at this point?
I mean, solid FPS, leaving the team to go to TSM. That's a big shift for them. I did have a chance to speak briefly with Frolicker about the roster changes. They are feeling confident that given the right amount of time that this team can gel, but this is a this is a high stakes time to be coming together as a team here in the LAN finals for the biggest PUBG tournament so far to date.
Definitely forged through the flames, you could say.
Yeah,
they have to come through and they really have to perform, but you can see that they're starting to get more and more synergy. That is one of the great things about having the 12 rounds and the 3 days. You have a chance to sit back and discuss, okay, this didn't work for us, let's make some modifications. But again, we were talking about it. You can't let day 3 be your day. You got to make sure that you get something on day 1 and day 2. So Cloud9 definitely wanting to get some more inside of these last 2 rounds for the day.
Looking to the middle of the play zone, Optic in transition, Valiate taking fire. That's from Trigger Happy. You can see now there's a bit of a light up happening. It is Orbit taking some shots at Slime Squad. All of a sudden, Slime Squad going 2 down very quickly. Carbon and Tony. Tony already finished. Orbit now Microstar having to deal with this, but you can see Valiate forced out in rotation. He seems to have a hole in his head, and now there's 2.
Gets dropped by cover fire. Bahawaka under a lot of pressure back there as well. Only has a little bit of life. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. Nope, he just gets taken down there.
That's big.
So Optic losing 1. We were starting to see a lot of these guys that were in the top 3 getting some early casualties here. It's all about how PUBG goes. It's all about that adaptation. You know, okay, these guys drop here. Let's modify. Let's change our play styles a little bit. Let's start doing what we feel is most comfortable for us instead of trying to play somebody else's game and tempo.
No doubt. Orbit picking up some early kills here. That's 2 down for Slime Squad. Now, Valiate going down for Optic is a big loss. We talked about how he is such a presence as far as a shot caller. Now, Optic has the experience. They can recover, but now they're going to have to adjust their playstyle moving forward.
Well, that's kind of the thing. There's a part of this whenever you kill the shot caller, it's not necessarily the kill you want to get, because the shot caller can still just spectate for the other guys and help them out. Now, almost your shot caller has like a god mode where he can just command.
Helicopter
he can just sit there and be like, you need to look more to the left, and you need to go over there and push the side flank. You kind of almost unlock really good shot callers whenever you take them out early. Like, you definitely want to get the killers first, and then kind of like force the shot caller to kind of play off of the back foot. In this case, you're going to have to see how this might affect Optic Gaming, though.
No doubt. Now for Optic, they are on foot. They are scattered a little bit. They do have some cover, but Team Gates is there to observe them moving around. The first circle is closing now, so we will see this density in the center match room. I think this is really kind of showcasing some of the conservative behavior that we've seen in the early tournament so far. That edge style just not really playing a factor right now, and maybe Ghost is going to try and do that here.
And I think that might, well, we talked about this. This kind of seems to be Ghost strategy. Like, let everybody else fight it out, let them do them, just keep our 4 people alive, and then come in late. And you're starting to get these different styles of play coming into effect. Everybody knows that, sure, you might not have to transition as much, so everybody hard drop centers. That's the downside of 20 teams. You assume that there's people everywhere, but if everybody is kind of crammed in the middle of it, then actually the edges almost end up becoming the safest place.
Indeed.
It's that double thinking that's kind of kicking off here.
Optic just cannot figure out how to get safe here as we just looking at Slimestar taking some pot shots at the transitioning Dignitas. NRG is holding on to Pachinki, and they are preventing anyone from getting anywhere near their city. So for Slime Squad having to back off, I believe that's Snowbird without his helmet.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, that's rough. On the back
really
of a buggy, driving into what could be around the center of the map, no helmet because of a fight that happened early. You know, this is one of those butt clinch moments. You're like, okay, please don't let anybody look my direction. Don't look over here. It's fine.
Just got the level 3 vest. He'll
take
be all right.
all the energy drinks in case you get hit.
So for this Slime squad, they have not found their footing just yet, but they are moving right towards Flyquest. This is going to be a problem for them. He's chugging those energy drinks, but the fire starts to come in. Nothing lands just yet. He does take one shot, maybe in the arm, but he's a little bit low on health, but he's returning fire. Flyquest missing an opportunity there to finish off a transitioning Slime squad.
I think that they were in a position, you could see that they seem to be facing the other windows more
Right.
towards the squads that were positioned up. Well, it's not quite done for Slime Squad because it looks like they might be heading over to where Cloud9 is at, and after what we just saw earlier this round, that's probably not the squad you want to run into. They seem to be a little bloodthirsty today.
Just looking for a place to land, and now it looks like Snowbird is not going to stay lucky here. He does take some more damage. Nowhere to land. Looks like they're going to opt for this yellow cabin. There's no more driving for them. It's just too dangerous. Now, Optic is now split. We see Baja Waka in the center, Hypoc a little further away. Spacestation Gaming here. Now on top, it's essentially a pinch maneuver between Cloud9 and Spacestation Gaming on Slime Squad, who's just really having a rough start to this game.
Yeah, they're trying to find out where they can try to go off of this. And as we start to see more and more circles come in and different people playing different factors inside of it, we also are starting to see the eastern part of the circle looks like it's starting to get a lot of collapse points as Gankstars seems like they managed to find Motivate. They're caught in a crossfire between Gankstars and Ghost. That is going to be a rough spot. Looks like they managed to get into a divot, and they're going to be able to drive out in a way, but they still a little bit under fire. I'm surprised that all 4 of those guys lived.
Yeah, for now, Motivate just trying to get away from this pressure blaze. Very low health. Now, Teflon and the rest of Gankstars are basically playing a little passively here. It looks like Ghost is just going to try and skirt away, go a little bit north. They could go all the way around the edge and try and get on that South George area, as looks like the Slime Squad issues continue as Microstar does knock Snowbird. So not only enemies outside, but within as well.
Look on this map right now. Tempo Storm's already posted up. Cloud9's going for a transition. God Squad's going for a transition. Nova's going to a transition. Honeybadgernation. All of these squads are all crashing into where they consider to be the safer location around this Chopsticks area of Gatka. See, so many squads are just trying to haul through. Bullets are starting to go back and forth. Going to force people to transition out and away into different points. The southern area of the circle is actually kind of one of the hotter points to be at right now.
Indeed. So we do see the Chopsticks region starting to pile on. It looks like God Squad, C9, Nova, and Honeybadgernation all moving in this area. You can see Honeybadgernation a little further off in the distance. Tempo Storm holding a split here, holding control with Tempo Storm in the divot or in the trench.
And this is risky. Right now at this stage, they can manage to hold with 2 people. Just take some shots, use the shots to scare out somebody so that way nobody comes crashing into your location. But at some point, they might need to reconvene with each other, and there's that open field right in between them that could be deadly.
So for Totality, they are doing damage to themselves as well as Los HD does go down, knocking himself with his vehicle. It was Hypoc shooting, and I believe he does have a teammate with him. So Optic Gaming putting pressure onto Totality from the water region. And yes, Ghost has rotated all the way along the top end of the play zone to the point where I don't think we can even see them anymore. But they're going to be coming around that South George area. Team Gates up on the mountain. But
Wildcard just hard pushing right into where Tempo Storm was positioned at. Bullets are going to come out, force them to redirect a little bit, but they're just going to put their line of sight on the other transition point.
What are they doing?
I think at this point they just like, oh, this is a little bit too hot down here. There's too many squads. Look, you can see on the mini-map, they're separated out. Kane's driving around the northern area. Trefeli and Pride are driving around the southern area. Tamai's just outside of his vehicle. There's some type of confusion that's happening here. Now Kane's starting to drive by Flyquest.
He's coming back?
He's at this point, hey, you know, I lived through the shooting range once. Let's try it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Kate has somehow done the sprint up and down the map, has survived so far. Wildcard will stay 4 strong unless something terrible happens to Kate, but looks like he's going to make it so far. So for Wildcard, they definitely have you know, some luck on their side at the very least.
I would say that's driving between 4 different squads and not dying, and then choosing to drive back through 3.
Lucky, yeah.
That's beneficial. I wouldn't necessarily like call that high levels of skill, but and one thing they do have is they have a ton of information now. They know where so many different squads are, and that can really help them in their later transitions. But Wildcard's troubles aren't over, as it looks like now Gankstars sees their position is moving towards them.
So for Trigger Happy, holding on to these yellow cabins, Totality, a team that has always been on the bubble of success. They're always right there. They have the talent, but their transitions and their late game conversion is just not quite there just yet. Trigger Happy is there, so we'll see now if these two teams are going to see each other. But looks like Wildcard, it is Kaint coming back into it, taking some shots and a kill off of Gankstars.
Some long-range shots coming back and forth. That's going to push Gankstars out. We were talking about how they were going to push over towards them. We've got our guys kind of positioned up over here. Wildcard does look like they're retreating back down the hillside. Off in the distance, you can see Gankstars. Tamai almost looks like he might be feeling brave about this. They know that they got the down onto it. We talked about how Wildcard can kind of be a little bit more aggressive than some of the other teams. Sometimes it works for them, sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of hard to say what will Wildcard do at any given moment. They got it down. They know it's 3. Do they choose to push on it? And it's looking like they're at least trying to get some information on making that decision.
Absolutely. So for Tumai and the rest of his squad, having to move now to the center, we're going to see this shift. It will stay relatively center, a little bit more to the west of the play zone. This is still looking very good for teams like Cloud9, Nova, God Squad, and Tempo Storm. NRG now having to leave that Pachinki region, and that eastern side of the play zone is going to get very hot. And what a great decision by Ghost. They've looped all the way around. Well, you can see them just at the top of your screen there, that red tag. They're going to come in in a portion of the play zone that is completely empty.
And that's great for one part of it, but the downside to it is we are in Gatka. So you can see everybody's huddled around the buildings, the couple of complexes around the Chopsticks area, but there are so many wide open plains, hay bales to play around, so that's going to make it really rough on the next couple of circle transitions. It's going to be a lot of run and gun, playing along these different areas, trying to make it in and out of the trenches, playing around hay bales. These guys are really going to have to step up their aim. There's still 74 alive. We haven't seen a lot of casualties coming in as of yet.
Well, there's just so many open compounds. They were open, but now they're occupied. So the direct fighting that we've seen in the previous rounds has not been a necessity yet, but that is going to happen at some point. We can see Cloud9
Motivate.
dealing
That's
with
not
Motivate.
a place you want to go. They run right up into that shack, and Spacestation Gaming's like, no, buddy, this is ours. You can't have it. Trying to step up and forward, taking the shots, and they do get the down on top of it. For one, no, actually they don't. They step back through. They're just shooting through the smoke. Finally, they get it there.
So Cloud9 is actually in the adjacent chopstick, so it is Spacestation Gaming, and you can see now the kills starting to mount as Nova dealing with Flyquest, NRG now dealing with the rest of Motivate, who is struggling mightily here, losing fights to multiple teams at the same time. Cloud9 is there hanging out nearby, and that is Flyquest eliminated, as we can see here the live feed from Moody. And he spots that crate. He's just calling it out to his teammates. But Cloud9 and this Chopsticks region is going to be the focus of attention as NRG now receiving fire back from Motivate. But wow, what a flurry of action.
They're trying to hold down multiple points. EU9's actually taking some pot shots at NRG as well. Looks like they're going to be able to get some multiple downs on top of it. Any follow-up kills coming off? No, it's actually going to be Motivate that gets a down on top of it. This is kind of getting a little chaotic over there. So everybody that's opting into the edge strategy, you know, we were talking about centering and how strong centering feels. When you get a circle like this, centering doesn't feel good. So you're starting to see a couple people play some edges, and they're waiting. Specifically in the northeastern area of the circle, we've got Totality stacked up with Optic, Trigger Happy, and Orbit, all within about 300 meters of each other?
No doubt. That's a lot of action happening up there as we see Hetro go down and trade with Totality. Hetro now finished off by Interrogate. Maluk going down to Dignitas, so really action mounting all over the map, but really this circle is going to force all of these teams into that into the play zone for Totality, Trigger Happy, and Optic, who's now lost a second member. I believe actually only it's only Baja left. Yeah, exactly. So now it's Trigger Happy, Baja Waka, and Orbit is there kind of playing spoiler. They haven't done anything just yet, but they are present.
If we can bring up the map real quick, yeah, you can see that there's Baja right there. There's Trigger Happy that's doing the push off to the side. They're in kind of a rough position because these guys aren't inside the safe circle. So Optic's all on their lonesome. So Baja's got to figure out how he's going to come through here, and cover fire is pushing down in front of them because they don't want to push into Orbits. So there's nowhere really for Baja to go. He's just outside tanking. Totality is trying to get, they're getting caught in a fight with the guys that are playing on top of Everest. That's Team Gates taking pot shots down. Everybody's just kind of stuck where they're at, and they're going to end up taking a lot of blue damage.
Indeed. So now it's this is an interesting choice from Totality. They're 4 strong. They haven't had too much resistance just yet, but that shift is going to take place all the way down to the southern portion of the zone. That Chopsticks region is now more important than ever. Tempo Storm, Dignitas, Team Gates, Orbit, Trigger Happy, NRG, all outside the zone. NRG has so far the easiest way in, but it's going to be all about Totality, Orbit. These guys that have been spending so much time on the edge of the play zone, what are they going to do here?
Well, one of the things I want to make a bet on is I think that somebody is going to be crashing into Chopsticks that's already going to be occupied, and it's going to go very badly for whoever crashes into it. See, all these teams are trying to load up.
They're taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, look how long that they've been out here, and these are competitive circles. These things hurt very, very, very quickly.
They're forced to move.
And they're just running right into it.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for Totality to go. They're just going to get destroyed. Taro has a little bit of life.
Oh, he's not going to make it.
Oh, he almost had it, but again, 2 squads.
So that's, I mean, Totality's call making here is very questionable. Why are they so late? Maybe they had these teams really gatekeeping them, but they went back that way to try and fight Optic.
Literally, the gatekeepers were Team Gates. They were up on top of Everest, firing down into him, and now everything is just exploding around Dignitas. A lot of damage coming down. Adam is already down. Gustav on a smidgen of life there. This is where all of the pressure starts to come in. Again, it's all open wide fields. Nobody wants to play around it. God Squad's trying to make their way in. They're getting a lot of damage. Turning around, trying to get the down on top of it, but there's going to be somebody who walks behind him. Uncivil somehow lives, inflicts enough damage to force them to turn back around.
So Totality has been eliminated. Trigger Happy now facing the same issue themselves. Orbit has also been actually severely damaged. It looks like Waldo is the only man standing, and he's driving back into the zone. Nikipa left behind. Trigger Happy having to try and outrun the zone, but Orbit is now Orbit's still in the game. There's still 1 left, I believe. So for Trigger Happy,
we still have the thing that's happening around Dignitas as reses are starting to come up now. And there we go. Pistola time to getting some downs onto the dig as they're trying to retransition. This is all turning real bad for Dignitas. Is he going to push out and around him? Pistola time feels brave, lights that up, and gets the 3 kills.
Excellent job by Pistola Time doing a nice building push there. Dignitas has been eviscerated here. He's got a lot of loot on his hands now. Nova taking up in the Gatka region, but the slow, steady movement of Ghost, they are also sharing that region. Fear Me does go down to Mossy. Team Gates still playing that spoiler behind. We can hear the yells coming from the arena behind us as Honeybadgernation and that Chopsticks region between Cloud9 and Spacestation Gaming is getting very hot.
Look at where Pat Caps is. We saw Pistola Time. He had to fight Dignitas. Pat Caps is over there with Cloud9. He's in a dangerous position. They just kind of have to play as safe and passively as possible because there's only the 2 of them left for God Squad. See Tempo Storm under a lot of fire as well. Everybody should have some type of sight lines on each other at this point, or you know where everybody's occupied at. Pat Caps, all by his lonesome. He has to do what he saw his teammate do a second ago. He has to win a highly outnumbered fight, and Cloud9 is all condensed around each other. If there's a moment to strike, this might be it if he has any grenades.
Pat Caps is all by himself. Pistola Time does have a wide angle. They know they're there. They can hear the shots. Pat Caps trying his best to feed his teammate information, but for now they have to play defensively. There's no trades available for God Squad. Cloud9 lurking there. Honeybadgernation also on scene. And really, for now, it's Tempo Storm and Ghost hanging onto the edges with Team Gates. We can already start to see the shift in the mindset where center is not always the best option.
And it's starting to get, well, especially on a circle such as this, as we get the map pop up. You got Pistola Time smack dab in the middle of it, all by his lonesome. But look at all the fields around him to the west, to the north. You've got Waldo way up in the northern area. You've got Gankstars that's still playing around the hills. But it's just a no man's land. If anybody has to transition or has to move out of these positions and cross that field, it's going to get bloody real fast.
Absolutely. So Cloud9 holding 4 strong here. Only 2 kills as I say that. Stab gets taken down. Pat Caps holding that angle with the M24. Takes Stab down. They're aware of his presence. How does Cloud9 react to this?
This is
and the follow-up nade.
That is so big right now. That is a long-distance grenade coming out from there, from one building over to the other side. That's going to inflict the damage. This is a 2v4 situation right now. Cloud9 really needs to be working their way up the leaderboard. This is turning out to be a huge detriment for them. Moody's already lost so much life. They're being forced into a little corner. Look at this. They're afraid to come out. They don't know how many people they're fighting. They think it's a 4-man squad.
This is absolutely intense. Cloud9 is actually unaware of the fact that it's only Pat Caps doing all of this damage to them. Patcaps doing his duty. It does take a kill off of Cloud9, who up until just a moment ago was 4 strong, headed into the top 10.
They don't know. They're trying to figure out where these shots are coming from. They know where one of them is at, but every single time they step forward, bullets start coming from a different direction. This is a great set of plays coming out from God Squad. That peak is going to be dangerous.
Another down.
Yeah. Oh, and that peak, he takes a little bit of damage. This is turning so terribly for Cloud9.
They need to just decide what to do with this. Here comes the defensive nade. I think that might have been a smoke just to prevent any more peaks from coming out. I'm not sure if they smoked Patcaps' window or their own down teammate, but that's another down for Moody. Cloud9 is just on the ropes with only one player facing them.
Well, God Squad loves to play brave like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if we turn back around and see that something coming out of here in just a minute. I think it's going to be a little bit of back and forth. But let's kind of do a quick look out and see what's happening around there. We got Spacestation Gaming way off in the distance. Moody's lost his helmet off of this. A lot of transitions coming through. His Wildcard's taking some damage off of Gankstars already in position. Tempo Storm did a large rotate around. Look at all the lines as everybody just sees each other trying to get what damage they can. Ghost is still on the outside of it, and they're going to have to push across this open field, leave their safe position. Tempo Storm's taking down Wildcard right now.
Kane's is the last man. That's actually Tumai. Who's at a crate, I believe, all by himself. But Tempo Storm is now
the grenade pushes him out forward. He can't quite get it though.
But Pistola Time is there to follow up. Riem does go down. Pistola Time is still there trying to support. Here comes a smoke grenade, but Cloud9 is taking a ton of damage. Patcaps is down, likely out at this stage. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, that was a ton of work put in by him, as now Ghost is starting to get involved. 0 kills so far, but I imagine that's going to change.
They want to push out and forward. They do have a vehicle they can play around. That's a brave position coming out from Venerated, jumping on it, trying to get a little bit more sight lines. He knows where Nova is. There's nobody around them, so they know that that's their threat. They're just moving from vehicle location to vehicle location. Cloud9 finally does get that kill onto the remaining, well, one of the remaining members for God Squad. But look at this. We talked about it. Confidence now coming out from Ghost. They're just strolling across that wide open field. Look at what we're seeing. They're just straight strolling up the Nova, and they're like, no, we are going to shoot each one of you down, and it's working for them.
Absolutely. So for Ghost, they are taking some shots now at Nova. Nova has one down. Nerf me, please. The circle is pressing on them. So it is Ghost. Again, we've seen them do this. Rotate along the edge of the circle and try and clear it out, but that shift has gone away from them. So now it's going to be a matter of time management. Are they going to be able to finish Nova and get to safety in time?
They have to push out and forward. The whole time that's going on with that God Squad, that solo member of God Squad doing so much damage back over towards Cloud9 means they can't look back over here. This is just unlocking Ghost. You see, take a couple of shots, move forward, take a couple of shots. Profi on a long flank on the outside of it. Venerated lines up the shot, gets the down onto Landoon. It's just going badly for Nova. They're just like, no, I'm out of here. They jump on the motorcycle and they're just getting out of there. Richie is still up and alive, and he is one of their best shots. This is where it could be risky. He could just pop up out of these bushes and do massive damage to Ghost, but it looks like they're actually opting out in a way. They know they only have 20 seconds, and they are not yet inside the safe circle. It's still about 150 meters, and they're going to have to run right into Patcap's waiting hands, or Pistola Time's waiting hands.
Absolutely. Pistola Time, the last man standing for God Squad. He did just get another, I believe, a kill steal onto Nova. Nova has been abandoned by Ghost. This is what we were talking about. They've decided they can't finish it in time. They need to take over Pistola Time's little compound here that he's got. So Ghost is going to push onto that. The remnants have seen onto there, but meanwhile, Team Gates holding on to the very critical tunnel transition in the chopsticks.
They're holding this position. The other guys from across the way, Spacestation Gaming, can potentially
push
down around.
Them.
Trying to get a little bit of damage on top of it. K-Mine's actually on the outside. NRG is just crashing into this location. Team Gates do have the cover, but they could find themselves pincered inside of here if they're not careful. That's why they back up. They're trying to get more line of sight on everything that's happening around them. Cloud9 is just right next to them, so as all these shots are going off, it's just drawing their attention into here. They don't have good sight lines down on top of it, so you can see everybody's just doing slow peeks up. They know it's risky to pop their heads up over this, but they're not going to take the shots onto it. They've retreated back out of that central point, so now that might be surrendered and could allow Spacestation Gaming to push out and forward, and then they have no cover to play off of. Team Gates has to be very careful about their movement here.
So now that is Nova, I believe the last man standing being eliminated. Venerated picking up another kill. Ghost Gaming staying very active here. Now it's all about displacing Pistola Time, as Frolicker has got eyes on Team Gates. Spacestation Gaming there as well. Team Gates has a good spot, but they're giving up so many peaks.
Pistola Time is under pressure. Ghost is just coming in, waiting for him. And yeah,
that's it. That's it for God Squad. So
that was quick and over.
Yeah, very good for Ghost. They've secured another strong position here. And now these three teams deadlocked in the center. Cloud9, Team Gates, and Spacestation Gaming. They're going to have to sort this out eventually. Cloud9, having taken a lot of damage, picked up 3 kills as well. Tempo Storm on the edge, and they are now trading with Ghost.
It looks like Ghost does manage to get into a position because he probably climbed up on the outside of that, tried to get a high ground sight line. They're shooting
Tempo
back
Storm
over
is
towards
just getting
Tempo Storm,
eviscerated.
and there's nothing they can do off of it. There's so many angles. Smokes are going down. They're just trying to make some type of play off of it. Through the smoke, they managed to get a down off of that. They did get a kill as well. A lot of pressure coming on to Tempo Storm. They've got to figure out how they're going to get out of this. They're just out. They're the only team that's out in the open right now, so they have so many different squads that are shooting back down at them. Tempo's just trying to do damage control at this point.
Yeah, they did get their reses off. Team Gates is really holding on to this tunnel. They are very concerned about Spacestation Gaming, looking for a press. We have seen another shift. It is still staying centered. A team we have not been talking about at all is at the middle of it all, and it's Honeybadgernation. They are 4th strong in the center of the next play zone.
Tempo Storm, this is just that place you never want to be. You can see it's wide open fields in front of them. Their vehicles are on fire. They can't use them. They're hiding behind a crate. So sure, they might have gotten a helmet or some body armor off of it, but look how far they have to transverse. There are so many squads that are looking back towards them. All these guys that are caught in the chopsticks area are going to have to pull back out and are going to have to be pushing back towards Honeybadgernation, like you were talking about, though. So got to keep an eye on what's happening here, too.
Absolutely. So that top portion of the play zone is going to have a lot of pressure here coming. C9 is in the position to gatekeep to an extent. So it's going to be really between Spacestation Gaming and Team Gates and maybe Cloud9 trying to play spoiler. And we do see the first trade come out. It is Vexel taking down CeeLo as now Cloud9 is just playing it safe relatively after taking so much damage.
Doing such a great job of using that wall, that little bit of cover that's kicked out of it so they can take the shots. The blue is condensing down. Remember, none of these guys are inside of it. Lots of shots are now coming back and forth. Looks like Cloud9's trying to hold that position. They do actually still have a vehicle that's working. It looks like they're trying to get forward. Look at Ghost again, just full on brave. Drive out, jump out, take the shots, do the damage to Cloud9. That is going to, look at this. They're just racking up kill after kill. They're just walking through, getting everybody that's just trying to push into the circle. They're just looking out windows, peek, damage, down, killing person after person.
It's incredible, but they have a flank coming behind. All of a sudden, it's D-Master.
It's just venerated, and he has like near no life. Spacestation Gaming is coming around the outside of him. D-Master's going up. Vixel's trying to run back out of it.
Oh my god, it's a murder.
It's going so badly. Venerated's trying to get back up. Remember, the blue's going to be coming in. Team Gates also holding an outside position. Are they going to leave D-Master behind on this? Venerated needs to turn out and go on it. You can see the fact that his friend just went down.
It's all to Venerated.
He's got to survive off of this.
He has to. I think the top 7 finish is not what he wants. So really, did he just look right at someone else? I'm not sure if that was a bit of a, if I was visually confused there, but Eunited is there as well.
Oh!
And here comes Honeybadgernation dealing with Tempo Storm, fending it off so far. And it looks like now Venerated is going to have to try and take some shots here. It's Eunited. It's Venerated going against all the members of Eunited. They're coming out of the shack here. Kaisako does go down. He needs to play it safe here. He does finish it off, getting yet another kill. Venerated finished off, so Ghost will go down in 7th place.
That could be a big influencer on the leaderboard. Spacestation Gaming still up and alive. They now have to reposition, come out. You can see everybody's just trying to play on a little bit of pieces of terrain that's still capable. There's a couple buildings in. Eunited just gets taken down. That little bit of damage. Ghost just took a swing at them, did a little bit more, took them out of this. That's going to be somebody that managed to follow up and get those kills. So now we've got Tempo Storm in a position, Honeybadgernation in a position, and we got Spacestation Gaming on the other side. 7 people alive, 3 teams.
Spacestation Gaming. D-Master saved them. He came all the way around the backside of Ghost, who was destroying his team. He shot them all in the back. They were all so concerned about the rest of his team that D-Master was able to position himself and absolutely destroy Ghost. That was a huge play by him. Spacestation Gaming finding themselves in the top 3 for the first time this tournament.
Now we're in a really interesting position. We've got essentially a 2v2v3. Honeybadgernation's trying to play around the outside of this, but Tempo Storm and Honeybadgernation don't have a lot of control areas around them that are inside the safe circle, so they're going to have to condense down. Spacestation Gaming also going to have to move forward, but they're only a 2-man. So if we actually see Honeybadgernation and Tempo Storm get caught into a fight, that's so great for Spacestation Gaming, or Spacestation Gaming can just try to pepper in, take shots, force a full 3-way fight.
They don't have a lot to go with here. I think they're going to have to come all the way out of that house. There's no real option for them, and they have no cover either. Ben Q5 well aware of their position. He's got that SKS primed and ready to go. The smoke grenades are coming out. All utility in effect here. And really, they are going to get forced out as well as Dre takes a lot of damage. It's Honeybadgernation, I believe, peppering them with grenades, and the shots do ring out.
Bouncing from smoke to smoke, you can see that Honeybadgernation is stepping out and forward. It's going to be Spacestation that's trying to do a little bit of damage to him. Honeybadgernation is aware of all the smokes. Your boy Dre is just bouncing from smoke to smoke, trying to use the cover. Circles now coming in. going from spot to spot. It's all a matter of who sees who first, who hears the footsteps, who peeks around the wrong corner. Everybody's starting to move forward. Honeybadgernation seems like they got a spot on top of him, but they're going to have to follow up right back behind him. They did get that shack. They did get control over it. Honeybadgernation is just going to have to play around these windows with the blue right on top of them.
I think they might have waited just a little bit too long. Tempo Storm has made it all the way over here. It looks like Spacestation Gaming has not actually been forced out just yet. They do have a little bit of a whoa! The nade lands, and as I say that, Grizzly takes down BenQ5. Your boy Dre holding the wide peak here. I would like to see Grizzly try and press and finish this, but they have no idea how many people are left.
Well, the problem with it is we can't see anybody from Tempo actually step forward to go for the res. Yeah, because you can see BenQ5 gets taken down from the outside of it. If your boy Dre stepped forward, he was just going to get torn to shreds by the guys from Space Station. So now it's really come a fight of who can dictate the next little couple of skirmish points in between Space Station and Honeybadgernation. Honeybadgernation coming up full step around. Are they going to play this aggressively? He runs out into the blue. Your boy Dre did give away his position. Stepping through it, that's an AK. You don't want to peek around that ghillie suit or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like the thought there to try and go into the blue. He's going to just try and nade this corner to keep him away from there. He's going to have to get away from that. He's in line of sight of his own grenade. He's got to be careful. He does do damage to himself. A little bit of a misstep there by Dre. He's under pressure. He's got 3+2 looking at him. Circle's moving.
Blue steps back around.
Rick
was just waiting for him, takes him down. Space Station Gaming not capable of getting the kills off of this push, really allowing Honeybadgernation to close out the distance. Smoke's coming down. Honeybadgernation gets one, coming back over. D-Master's trying to make some plays off of this. He's in a 1v3 at the time. So much damage already taken. He peeks back up, gets the down onto one of them, but it is not enough. Honeybadgernation comes out with a round win.
Wow, that was a very impressive play by them. I mean, they did hold that compound very, very strongly, but they